Hello, wealth creators. It's my pleasure to announce to you the performance index of members of the WC class 601, which is the class where the outstanding member of the community for the month the contest takes place there. So we just start with the performance indices. In the first week, the community post number 1, titled "Do You Desire Financial Freedom?" On the blog post, the first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he scored 15 points. Others were Mr. Morgan Oscar, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, Mr. David Owusu Koko, all of whom scored 5 points. The best comments, we had to spread the points across board, so each person had 1.5 points. On the WhatsApp platform, the first to comment, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 15 points. Others were Mr. Morgan Oscar, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, Mr. David Owusu Koko, Dr. Uzoma Okereke, all of whom earned 5 points. Again, for the best comment, we spread the points across board, so each person earned 1 point. On the Facebook platform, the first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. The other was Mr. Oscar Morgan, who earned 5 points. The best comment, the points were spread between the two, Mr. Hejirika and Mr. Morgan, 5 points apiece. Post like, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. Post share, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points, Mr. Morgan Oscar, 5 points. Adjunct post number 1, the first part YouTube video. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points. Mr. Morgan Oscar, 20 points. Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points. Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, 20 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 20 points. Pastor Kelly Isidore, 20 points. Part 2, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 10 points. Mr. Morgan Oscar, 10 points. Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 10 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 10 points. Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, 10 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 10 points. Dr. Uzoma Okereke, 10 points. Second week, community post number 2, titled 3 Simple Life Expenses that. On the blog post, the first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Morgan Oscar, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, and Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, all of whom scored 5 points each. The best comment came from Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, for which he earned 10 points. On our WhatsApp platform, first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Morgan Oscar, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, Mr. David Owusu Koko, Pastor Kelly Isidore, all of whom scored 5 points. The best comment came from Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, for which he scored 10 points. On our Facebook platform, the first to comment was Mr. Benedict Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. There was no best comment. Post like, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 5 points. Post share, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points. Adjunct post number 2, part 1, YouTube video. Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 10 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 10 points. Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, 10 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 10 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 10 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 10 points. Part 2, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 10 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 10 points. Engineer Chukwebuka Sadu, 10 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 10 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 10 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 10 points. The third week, community post number 3, titled, These Acts Will Help Improve On the blog post, the first to comment was Dr. Umeji Ebube, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, Mr. Ben Hejirika, Mr. Oscar Morgan, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, Mr. David Owusu Koko, all of whom earned 5 points each. The best comment, the points were spread across board and each person had 1 point each. On our WhatsApp platform, the first to comment was Dr. Umeji Ebube, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, Mr. Ben Hejirika, Mr. Oscar Morgan, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Engineer Nestor Ike, Mr. David Owusu Koko, all of whom earned 5 points each. For best comment, again, the points were spread across board, so each person had 1 point. On our Facebook platform, the first to comment was Mr. Benedict Hejirika, and he earned 15 points. The other person was Mr. Oscar Morgan, who earned 5 points. The best comment, the points were spread across the two, 5 points apiece for Oscar and Benedict. Post like Oscar 5 points, Ben 5 points. Post share Oscar 5 points, Ben 5 points. Adjourned post number 3. On our WhatsApp platform, the first to comment was Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, for which she earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Morgan Oscar, Mr. Ben Hejirika, Engineer Nestor Ike, Mr. David Owusu Koko, Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, and all of them earned 5 points each. For best comments, the total points were spread across the respondents, and each person had 1.5 points. On our Facebook platform, the first to comment was Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, for which she earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Benedict Hejirika, 5 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. The best comment, the points were spread across the 3 of them, and each person had 3 points. Post like Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 5 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points. Post share Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points. In the 4th week, community post number 4, titled Is Financial Success Possible? On the blog post, the first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Oscar Morgan, Engineer Nestor Ike, Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, and they earned 5 points each. Best comment, the points were spread across, and each person earned 2 points. On our WhatsApp platform, the first to comment was Mr. Ben Hejirika, for which he earned 15 points. Others were Mr. Oscar Morgan, Engineer Nestor Ike, Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, Mr. David Owusu Koko, all of whom earned 5 points each. For best comment, each person earned 1.5 points. On our Facebook platform, the first to comment was Mr. Oscar Morgan, for which he earned 15 points. The other was Mr. Ben Hejirika, who earned 5 points. The best comments, the points were spread. Each person had 5 points. Post like Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. Post share Mr. Ben Hejirika, 5 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 5 points. Adjourn post number 4, YouTube video. On our WhatsApp platform, the Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points, Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 20 points, Mr. Oscar Morgan, 20 points, Mr. David Owusu Koko, 20 points, Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, 20 points. On our Facebook platform, Mr. Ben Hejirika, 10 points. Post like Ben Hejirika, 5 points. Post share Ben Hejirika, 5 points. Other activities of the community. The first open day that held Thursday, 18th November 2021. Nurse Chinwe Ekwedike, 6 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 7 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 7 points. Pastor Kelly Sidon, 5 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 7 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 4 points. Engineer Chukwuebuka Sadu, 5 points. Second open day, Thursday, 25th. November 2021. Nestin Ekwedike, 11 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 11 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 6 points. Pastor Kelly Isidore, 5 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 16 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 13 points. Engineer Chukwuebuka Asadu, 10 points. Community Team Debate, 3rd edition, 25th of November 2021. Dr. Bida Azudialu, 15 points. Nestin Ekwedike, 10 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 10 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 10 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 25 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 10 points. The Quora activity of 28 November 2021, Nestin Ekwedike, 5 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 5 points. The third open day, Thursday, 2nd of December 2021. Topic of the day and picture of the day. Nestin Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 17 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 23 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 21 points. Engineer Chukwuebuka Asadu, 4 points. On the Hot Seat Personality Program 7th edition that held on 5th of December 2021, Nestin Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 20 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 20 points. The 4th Open Day program that held on Thursday, 9th of December 2021, Nestin Ekwedike, 10 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 6 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 17 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 7 points. Engineer Chukwuebuka Asadu, 5 points. Saturday Panorama, a presentation, the 7th edition that held on Saturday, 11th of December 2021. Nestin Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 20 points. Pastor Kelly Isidore, 20 points. Dr. Zomo Okereke, 20 points. 5th Open Day program, Thursday, 16th of December 2021. Nestin Ekwedike, 7 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 12 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 13 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 13 points. The valedictorian maiden edition, Thursday, 16th of December 2021. Nestin Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points. The valedictorian second edition, Thursday, 16th December 2021. Nestin Ekwedike, 20 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 20 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 20 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 20 points. Dr. Uzoma Okereke, 20 points. Introduction of new members. Nestin Ekwedike introduced 2 persons, total of 10 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika introduced 1 person, total of 5 points. Summation of the performances. Dr. Ebube Umeji, 32 points. Mr. Ben Hejirika, 513 points. Mr. Oscar Morgan, 245.5 points. Dr. Zomo Okereke, 51 points. Pastor Kelly Isidore, 55 points. Nestin Ekwedike, 314.5 points. Dr. Bida Azudialu, 15 points. Engineer Nestor Ike, 262.5 points. Engineer Chukwuebuka Asadu, 173.5 points. Mr. David Owusu Koko, 240.5 points. From this performance index and having fulfilled all conditions precedent to the award, I hereby announce Mr. Benedict Chidi Ihejirika as the outstanding member of the Community of Wealthcreators for the months of November and December 2021. I hereby also announce Nestin Ekwedike as the first runner-up in the contest. No one qualified for the second runner-up. All the winners shall be informed of the award packages in due course. Thank you all. God bless us all. This is Dr. Jerry the First Oguzie, JP, the convener of the Communitywealthcreators. This Saturday, the 1st of January 2022.